You've got to be the change you want to see. Sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes it's just a matter of stepping out and doing what you want to do. Right now, I'm looking through the book that was sent to us. This is from Katie Anderson, Learning to Lead, Leading to Learn. It's her lessons that she's learned from Isao Yoshino. She is with us today. It's a lifetime of continuous learning. Katie, thank you for talking to us and sharing with us what you learned from Isao Yoshino. Why did you decide to write this book? What's so important?
Thanks, Dawn. I had this incredible experience of moving to Japan with my family in 2015. And met Isao Yoshino, who's a 40-year Toyota leader, and developed a personal relationship with him, learning from his wisdom of 40 years at Toyota and the richness of history and experience. And through what I was learning, I felt like the world also deserved to hear his stories as well and have an opportunity to learn from them as well. And our time together in Japan over those 18 months became a friendship that has transcended oceans and geography and resulted in the book, which is so exciting to be able to share these stories with so many people. And not only about looking back at the past as ways to learn, but also how can those who are reading the book reflect on Mr. Yoshino's experiences, the experiences of this world-renowned organization, and think about their own leadership practices and think about how they are going to improve themselves and their own organizations as we move into the future as well.
Sometimes as we get older, and I'm just talking about some folks, not everybody, but sometimes we get to a point where we feel like there's nothing left for me to learn. But I always feel like as long as you are still breathing, then you should probably still be learning.
Exactly, and that's part of the title too. It's a lifetime of continuous learning. And one of the joys that I had in writing this book was helping Mr. Yoshino look back on his life. And he made a comment to me that he was not only learning, but relearning about his life and thinking about how is he even going to think about things differently as he moves forward. You know, he's in his mid-70s now. And so that was a really powerful experience for me as, in some ways, a biographer. And in creating this story, but also I included reflection questions at the end of each chapter, so that everyone can learn and think more deeply about their own experiences, how they're going to continue to move forward for themselves.
Being a leader is a very, very difficult thing. And being a leader doesn't mean that you are at the top of a big corporation or that you are rich. Everyone in their own way can be a leader, and you kind of go through that in the book. Can you share with us what we should be doing in order to step up and do our best and to learn? Absolutely. And one of the beauties about this book is that it's a traditional leadership book in the sense that you learn deep practices of leadership. But because you go through the arc of someone's journey, you see that opportunity of learning from being a new college graduate to all the way being a very senior executive at an organization. And there was a comment that Mr. Yoshino made the very first time I met him, actually before I moved to Japan, that to me summarizes the very simple but not necessarily easy framework of leadership, which is leaders need to set the direction, provide support to their people, and develop themselves at the same time. And there are so many different practices we can do that, but if we can clearly set the way, set the direction, the vision of where we need to go, and provide the support, we're really going to be able to lead people into the future, to deliver value to our customers, and then never losing sight, as you said, that continuous learning for ourselves as well. Would you say the definition of leadership here in America is a little different than maybe that definition in Japan, as you had a chance to move and live there for a while?
Well, one thing that many people assume is that Japanese business culture is the same as Toyota culture. And I think Toyota really did something unique, leveraging some of the strengths of the Japanese culture, but also integrating it with some of the strengths of American culture, particularly as it was moving into the United States with the plant here in California and then the Kentucky plant as well. And talking about how do we develop people's capability and really be there. Mr. Yoshino says he even learned things about leadership from the Americans as well, about how to judge yourself against yourself, and also continuing to move forward towards the direction of individual achievement as well as group achievement as well. But something also a little known fact that Mr. Yoshino, and we talk about this in the book, had a strong connection to Kentucky as well, and played a role when the Kentucky Toyota plant was getting set up, and had many visits to Kentucky and encouraged the leadership, the local government leadership, to go to Japan to learn more about the training program that he had established for cross-cultural learning and between Toyota and the new plants in the United States. And in fact, it was his role that really helped influence Kentucky to invest in a $7 million training facility in Kentucky as well. And he loves country music and plays the banjo. So it's another little tidbit there. So there's a lot of, it's not just American culture he loves, but really the country culture, and based in Kentucky as well.
So I'm guessing we can get the book just about anywhere online and in stores where books are sold. What made you write this book, though?
So I wrote this book in part inspired by many of the blog posts that I had been writing and articles from my lessons learned from conversations with Mr. Yoshino. And I wanted to there were two reasons. One, he has a wealth of wisdom and experience about how Toyota intentionally created its leadership culture. It's people-centered and a learning culture that many people around the world revere. And also some history and important points in time that maybe people who have studied Toyota for a while don't actually have visibility to. And I really wanted to capture that moment and have a heartwarming story that people enjoy. And one of the biggest rewards as an author is the feedback I've gotten about how much people resonated with his experiences. It's not just about success, but it's about failure and learning from failure and mistakes along the way. And it's about how do you keep learning from that and improving yourself as a leader. And I think that's a really inspirational message for people who are struggling sometimes and feeling like they should be perfect but aren't. And so it's about how do we inspire ourselves today to continue to get better, and how do we have reassurance that, you know, those in the past that we admire too didn't have a perfect road as well.
Well, you've done something right, because on Amazon, it's the #1 hot new release. It is from Katie Anderson, Learning to Lead, Leading to Learn, Lessons from Toyota Leader Isao Yoshino, a lifetime of continuous learning. Katie, thank you so very much. So if you're trying to find your way, find your dreams, find your voice, this may be the book to help you.